Don, if we could have the camera and everything. All right, it looks like you are ready to go. So we will call the August 16th meeting of the Lincoln Park City Council to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be immediately followed with the invocation by Reverend Dave Duran of Resurrection Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we bow before you from many different places, but all under your watchful care. You are the giver of life and of every good gift. And even this gift of being able to Zoom a meeting so that our city can continue to function. And I want to thank you for these leaders who take time and energy to think carefully about the challenges facing our city and try to serve our city well, especially, Lord, as they have weathered an incredibly challenging, confusing, divided year. I pray that you would give them wisdom to lead well, to serve well, knowing that you said the greatest among you will be servant of all. So as they serve our city, guide them, strengthen them. I don't know what's going on in their personal lives, Lord, but I pray that you would strengthen them, not only in this task, but as members of our community. We thank you for them. We thank you that these are people that, Lord Jesus, you were willing to lay your life down for on the cross and rise again to give hope. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. We appreciate you coming and taking the time to be with us and share your prayer. Thanks again.
Thanks for serving us.
Thank you. If we could have roll call, please.
Certainly. Councilpersons Dupre? Here. Higgins?
Here.
Kelsey? Mr. Kelsey's muted.
Here. How's that?
Ross? Here.
Gotcha.
Tobin?
Here.
Salcido?
Here.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here. All right. Good evening, everyone. I guess it is evening, not afternoon. This past week we had what I guess could only be considered one whale of a storm that we are still pulling out of. Been in contact with our rep from DTE about 6:30 or so. The remainder of the Lincoln Park residents that are out, they're telling me that it's about 11:30 tonight that they could expect it, but it's said that the last couple of days. There are groups of DTE contractor trucks that are in the north end over there down by the Moose that are working on it. So hopefully we will have that back service, because that's a lot of. It's been 4 or 5 days since that time. To that end, though, with the amount of water and stuff that we handled, most of our infrastructure was doing well. Our DPS did well with routing the water and everything. So it could have been far worse for us. This afternoon, I was down at our community center and did a Facebook Live event just showing what the vaccine center is down there, how you just walk in and get it done, basically. What was of interest to me when I went through there is that not only will they have the Pfizer shots, the first and second, they also offer the Johnson & Johnson. And if you have the first 2 shots and you have a deficient immune system, or they will have the booster shots there also. They're there Monday from 9 o'clock to, I think it's 3:30, and then on Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. With everything that is going on with the variant, the spike in hospitalizations, the spike in positive tests, it behooves everyone to please go down there and to take care of business. Get this done so we can put this behind us. We have, from our last storm, I received a letter from Mayor John B. Riley of Dearborn, and it's thank you for so readily and rapidly coming to the aid of our community as we face one of our biggest challenges in our history following the flooding on June 26, 2021. I'm grateful and humbled by your willingness to step in with crews, equipment, and expertise as we work together to help thousands of Dearborn residents by clearing the massive amount of flood-damaged materials from the curb. Your dedicated effort to remove the piles of debris help make our residents feel safer and more at ease following their terrible experience. Now, this was at the suggestion of our DPS director, John Kazoo, but they show that it's very much appreciated by the other communities. Speaking of other communities, I just want to pass on a kudos for the city of Riverview. They had a nice presentation. It was actually the Wall That Heals, which is a representative of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And I visited that last week, and it was just very well done. So I just want to say thank you to Riverview for putting that on. This weekend was a busy one. On the 14th, of course, we had the Ecorse Creek cleanup at 9 o'clock in the morning. That went to 12. Our city manager was there and tells me that that went very well, and thanks to it being the second or the third cleanup, there was far less that needed to be picked up. So that was a good thing. Later that day, we had an event at the Historical Museum that was Chuck Miller, who put together these iconic cars from the late 60s and early 70s, like the Red Baron and such, was there to talk. I presented a key to the city for him. I don't think it works on many of the locks, but still, he got the key to the city, and he told the tale of how he came about and got involved in this, and a little bit about what Lincoln Park was like in the early 60s, as he would like to cruise up and down, as he was a business owner at the age of 20 and was working on these cars and just did he had that little bit of a little boy in him as he went through everything, because he still had that sparkle. It was a very nice event, and thanks to Jeff Day and the Historical Society and Commission for putting that on for us. The next day at the farmers market, which if you have not been to, every Sunday, 11 o'clock, come on down. Debbie Dingle was there, and we also had members from Forgotten Harvest, and a fellow by the name of Joel Berg, who was on Hunger Free America and was part of their national tour. So as part of that, Debbie arranged so that Lincoln Park was highlighted on that. And just in particular, it was brought to attention our Leslie Lynch Wilson, who has been in charge of our farmers market for several years and has been the person that has kept it going and is now starting to reap the benefits. I spent some cash down there, I know, and got fresh vegetables and things that we had for Sunday dinner. So I recommend everybody else to go down there also. At the meeting last week, you mentioned, or 2 weeks ago, mentioned that I would be meeting with GFL on that. Ashley and the city manager, James, were in this, and we had the owner, Sam, and then there was, I think, a regional director, and then our most closely person with as a supervisor, the person that we would call with complaints. It was a very interesting conversation with these. Open and frank conversation going with the complaints that we've had of missed pickups and that addresses that weren't being done and taken care of, and the ability to go from different. Let's see what I'm saying. And the ability with doing 3 different pickups and sometimes 4 different pickups at each of the homes during that. So you have the regular trash, the recyclables, the yard waste, and then if there is a bulk item or the additional trash cans, that's 4 different cruise things. But we stressed out that we need to work so that the pickups are done during the street maintenance times, and that if there is going to be a delay, that we need to know about that as soon as possible so that we can save that, we can put that word out, so that you don't take your cans back in, that they'll come in. We've exchanged contact information, and he expressed that if council was still interested in going down and doing a tour of the recycling facility, they would make that available as well. What we were thinking of doing is have Ashley McKincheck go down there and film it as it goes on, and then we could save that. I just wanted to read a letter to you that I got from him directly after the meeting. Some Lincoln Park residents have recently experienced delayed pickups of municipal solid waste, recycling, yard waste. GFL Environmental acknowledges its concern and apologizes for the inconvenience it presents to both residents and city officials. We understand the frustration experienced by residents who have grown accustomed to our history of prompt and high-level service when the expected service schedule is disrupted in any way. As you are well aware, our nation experienced an employment crisis of unusual proportions. Many jobs across nearly all employment sectors have gone unfilled. Unfortunately, the solid waste industry is not immune to this phenomenon, and GFL has no exceptions. Our staffing levels have been below our optimum level for several months, and this is an unfortunate impact on the ability to deliver service to our customers. To meet the challenges presented by ongoing labor shortage, GFL is aggressively recruiting new employees at very competitive wages. We will continue to do so until our staffing levels return to the point we are satisfied with our ability to deliver quality service to our valued customers. Well, there is no quick fix for the current employment issue. We understand the need to clear the curbs of refuse, recycling, yard waste. While residents may experience a delay in service, we have expanded our service schedule from 5 days a week to 6, with crews running on Saturday whenever a delay is experienced anywhere in the city. We believe that this will minimize the impact experienced by residents with delayed service. Another factor hindering our service delivery involves the international disruption of supply chains, specifically in regard to truck parts. When a truck requires parts to keep on the road, we're often forced to wait for back-ordered shipments. Okay. We, like you, wish there was a silver bullet capable of instantly rectifying these situations. GFL remains committed to providing the residents of Lincoln Park with the service they expect and deserve. We will continue to seek all remedies, current challenges, and we'll keep the lines of communications open with you and your team as our partners. We appreciate your patience and understanding current predicament. With that, they have their computer system for tracking their vehicles are it was very cool to me. They have down to the time, how long they're in front of different homes. So if there's a complaint about missed pickups, then they can go back and find out. These things happen, but they were very agreeable to working with us to get this. Okay, and then. So if you have a disruption of service, I think we're going to keep it that it should be our city management office, Ashley McKincheck, was extension 1231, to be our contact person to go through that. And we can get business taken care of. Okay, there was that. Now we met with Emergency Operations Team unit has met 3 times in the past week not the past week. Week and a half. Talking to myself. But you had first the issue was on the electronic meetings. And it was the determination of the EOC that the meetings continue while the Wayne County has the emergency order in place, and I believe that runs to the end of the year. Secondly, as the EOC, we met and discussed the storm and our response to that and the issues that went with that, and there was no real problems with that. The third issue was the Lincoln Park Days. Lincoln Park Days is scheduled for August 27th, 28th, 29th. I think those are the dates close to that. And then the concern of the emergency management team. The emergency management is made up of myself, James Krasander, city manager, our emergency manager, director, our fire chief, Steve Martin, the police chief, Raymond Waters. You have John Kazoo, you have John Myers, and you have Dennis Anderson, as well as Michael Parr, who brings us national information from Washington in reference to that. There was concern with Lincoln Park Days in that the amount of people, and particularly the kids at the carnival who are not or would not be vaccinated or could not be vaccinated would be harmful to them, that it would be placing them at risk with the spike in the number of hospitalizations and the Delta variation that is going on, and we're starting to see a spike of cases again. So the difficult decision at that time was made to cancel Lincoln Park Days, to make the recommendation that this is not something that can be safely done. Now there will be as one of the miscellaneous items in there, a amendment to the special events to allow some type of a food truck rally that was done before during that times. But for all intents and purposes, as we stand today, due to everything, the Lincoln Park Days will be canceled. Now this is a difficult decision, and it's not an easy one because there are funds that are there, and there are going to be losses that arise with this. I know that St. Pius just recently made the same decision with theirs, but there are many other communities that are going forward with that. But it's with the emergency management team that they needed to do what they feel is right in these circumstances and to make it safe. So that is what I have for right now. I'm sure that we'll have further discussion on those items later on, and we will move now to our consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the Mayor and City Council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held August 2, 2021. 2, scheduled study session, water rates and traffic division. 3, scheduled joint commission meeting. 4, approved block party, 2,000 to 2,100 block of Paris. 5, approved block party, 1,000 Josephine. 6, solicit bids, playground equipment. 7, renew annual used auto dealer.
I'll move with a question. Support.
Okay, if there is some discussion, we can move the item out, but what is the question?
Question I'd like to move of this consent agenda, Chairman.
Sorry, Larry, your audio cut out on us.
Sorry, can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to move item 2 from the consent agenda to the action items, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Then that will be placed down there. Is there further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre. Yes. Higgins,
Yes.
Ross. Yes. Salcido.
Muted.
Mr. Salcido, you're muted.
I don't seem to have problems. Everybody's going in and out. So, yes.
And Mayor Cox.
Yes. First action item we have has a cover letter from James Krazan, our city manager. In background, on August 20, 2021, Deputy Chief Richard Klakovich will retire. As announced during the August 2nd, 2021 City Council meeting, Lieutenant Scott Lavis is being promoted to the position of Deputy Chief. As has previously been standard, the city will enter into an employment agreement with the new Deputy Chief, which is attached. This contract is identical to that which is currently in place for Deputy Chief Klakovich. So whereas Deputy Chief Klakovich is retiring from the Lincoln Park Police Department, whereas Lieutenant Scott Lavis has been selected to fill the position of Deputy Police Chief, and whereas the city manager has prepared an employment agreement for the position, and be it resolved, the mayor and city council approve the employment agreement by and between the city and Deputy Chief Lavis. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute said employment agreement on behalf of the city of Lincoln Park. Okay. Discussion?
I'd just like to speak that you've been doing this for some time and you did a wonderful job and congratulations.
Okay, I think we all concur with that. Further discussion? All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Ross. Yes. Dupre. Yes. Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yeah.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. Next item we have is a cover letter from John Kazoo, authorization for DPS to auction off 2 Ford E250 cargo vans. So be it resolved that the mayor and city council hereby authorize DPS to auction off a 2007 Ford E250 cargo van, VIN 1 F Tom Nora Sam 24 Lincoln 27 David Boy 19896, and a 2000 Ford E250 passenger van, VIN 1 Frank Mary Robert Edward 1126 Young Henry Boy 75442, and if no bids are received, then allow the DPS to scrap it out. And in discussion, we have in background, one vehicle has been in the DPS fleet for over 14 years and exhausted, too costly to keep running, no longer needed. The other has been used by the 25th District Court for the court work program and has also exhausted its usefulness. So is there further discussion?
Through the chair, Nate.
Yes, go ahead.
I know we're gonna scrap them, but has the court any idea if they're gonna replace them? I mean, it's not our business, but I was just curious because I think one of them was donated by Patricia Krause. I'm not sure which one, to the court program to get it going. And the other one, obviously, I don't know if they bought it or whatever. I'm just curious if they're going to replace the van and continue the work program, because they were doing the work program before the pandemic down at River Rouge and Ecorse, because I seen it posted. Just a question, I don't know if anybody has the answer. If not,
Well, I saw the work program out on Fort Street this past week, and they were not using the older van. They were using another vehicle that had the markings on it.
okay.
Thank you, Mayor, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, they are using the other vehicle, and they actually did come by the creek cleanup, and I spoke with the supervisor for the program, and they are back to running it again. So, hope that answers.
Yes, it did. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm
Just out
sorry?
of curiosity, Your Honor,
Yeah, go ahead.
does that leave them with just one vehicle? The court work program?
Well, traditionally, that's how many they had. It was the one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Already? Is there further discussion? All right. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. The next item has been pulled by the submitter, so in reference to that, we will move on to resolve that special event permit number 7 be approved for the Downtown Development Authority to hold their first annual Downtown Bash on September 18, 2021, from 2 p.m. until 9 p.m., featuring a four-square tournament, live music, food trucks, and a beer tent. Be it further resolved that Forest Avenue from Southfield Road to White Street be barricaded and closed to vehicular traffic from 10 a.m. until 11 p.m. for this event. Well, I'll move on to get it going.
I'll support with some questions.
Okay, I don't see cost recovery for the police department, the DPS in there. Carl, can you address that? Carl Weiss, Leash?
Excuse me, I thought that had been discussed with those two parties. If not, if we're going to go forward with the event, then, I think we would agree to cover those expenses for DPS and the extra patrol.
So there are notes from, in reference to the traffic control and parking, and suggested 2 officers will be patrolling the event at any given time. And then barricades and such.
Yeah.
So that they don't have the costs associated with that just yet.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm seeing there, I just now heard that Lincoln Park Days was being canceled, and I just want to say if there's concern about this event, that'll probably be smaller. But, it's estimated that there could be as many as 200 people there.
Well, the main cause for the main cause for the Lincoln Park Days cancellation was that with the carnival and the concern for the kids. If it was just a live music event, then it would be going on. But this is all involved in their worry about the carnival.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'm still up. Councilman Higgins, go ahead. You had concerns, questions?
He was voicing my concern was the once again, we're taking apples and oranges here, with the COVID, we're allowing some events and not allowing other events, and, it doesn't make sense. And I'll speak further when we get to the other subject, and I'm gonna support this.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I see that there are going to be kids' activities, Your Honor.
That is correct.
So, review it and see. At this stage, there's, we have another meeting before it would have to be approved. Or not approved, I'm just...
Yeah. I think I would prefer to hold off on it.
how can you hold off though? Because you have to run, you have to set things up, you have to get contract bands, you do the other work. You either have to decide yes or no.
Yeah, well, what you have with this is not going to be the large volume that we would have with the 20,000 or kids or whatever that come in for Lincoln Park Days. So I'm sure that this will be a little bit of a smaller event. We will know in 10 days' time whether this is continuing to spike or not to spike. School will be starting at that particular time also. And if kids are in school on a regular basis, in not the virtual environment, then the Foursquare thing is not going to hurt them. I would suggest that we move forward with it at this point, and then we can revisit it at the next meeting, if the review it at the next meeting, or the Emergency Management Council can look at that also, review it.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I liked the chairman's idea of reviewing it, because I think maybe the emergency committee didn't realize that, but if they're going to have kids and all that stuff, and you can't control who comes or doesn't go to that event. I mean, it's going to be out in the open, the neighborhoods are there, so I would suggest, and I think the chairman made an example, that we pass it with the condition that the emergency management team looks at the event and decides whether or not it goes forward based upon their recommendation. And I don't know if that's a friendly amendment, or it has to be amended, or that's just kind of...
the mover and supporter would have to agree with. I was the mover, it's fine with me. Councilman Higgins?
Absolutely, I would not agree to that. We are the governing body. We are who the citizens of Lincoln Park elected to make these decisions. If those committees, any committee that we have, any commission that we have, are supposed to give us suggestions, and we are supposed to make the decisions. This committee should not be making the decision. They should be making recommendations. And I cannot support letting them make a decision.
Okay, very good. Do we have...
Through the chair, I'd like to have a comment to that, being it was...
hold on a second. We have a mover to amend the...
Yes.
We have a mover to amend move the resolution. Is there support for that?
Nice.
I'll support it. So we're going to call call the vote on the amendment, or we can have discussion on the amendment.
If I could, through the chair?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't disagree too much with Councilman Higgins, but I think I'm not a medical person. I know that the fire department concurs with Henry Ford Hospital. I heard that when I was at the virtual one with the Police and Fire Commission. That's where they kind of bounce off their ideas with. We are, and I agree with Councilman Higgins, we are elected, but we are also not doctorate or medical professionals, and that's why these people make these decisions. And I agree, they should recommend it. That's all my motion is, that we get the CLC to recommend whether or not that's a good idea, and we can decide then whether we want to override them or not. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, is there further discussion on the amendment?
What should we be putting in the amendment?
We're putting in the amendment.
I don't want to stop.
What I understand of the amendment is that we are approving this special event with the caveat that it meets the approval of the emergency response team. Is that primarily
I think approval is the only
approval
recommendation.
What is your word, Councilman Kelsey?
I think recommendation's fine. That'll leave Mr. Higgins and the rest of the council comfortable, because then we can make the decision. I don't have a problem with that. If you're okay with it, Your Honor, because you seconded it.
I'm good. Okay.
Through the chair, Your Honor, please.
Yes, go ahead.
I just have a comment, and in this particular case, I'll speak on the Lincoln Park Days later, but in this particular case, we're looking at 200 people. Yes, there are some activities for kids, right? Well, if my kids weren't vaccinated and I didn't want them to go, then I wouldn't send my kids to such event. So, therefore, if you're a responsible parent and you know where your kids are, you wouldn't send them there anyway. So, that's my comment. The 200 people, there's going to be music, and there's obviously going to be some beer there. So it sounds like mostly an adult event. Adults can make their own choice to show up or not. In regards to children, it's their parents' decision. So I will leave it at that, and that's my comment.
Okay, is there further discussion on the amendment?
Yes, Your Honor. Number one, I would like Ed Tillman's opinion on this, because I think we are not following the city's law by doing this. And number two, I would like to warn all the council members, we are setting a very dangerous precedent when we are letting a committee or a commission make a decision. We're giving away the power of the city council and the mayor, and it is not a thing we should be doing.
Which is why, through the chair, which is why I asked if it could be recommendation versus approval.
Okay. Make sure that permission is given before we jump in here, folks.
Would get Ed Tillman's opinion on this, please.
Yes, sir, I am in the process, but again, get permission to speak.
I'm going to come here because we had a problem. Lights the last time.
Ed, you're going to come and you're going to sit here.
Can I sit here?
You're going to take care of business there. But getting me to come back is going to be the issue.
Councilman, if you would rephrase the question, as I interpret it, you're asking whether the council would have the authority to override the recommendations of a committee, irrespective of appointment, that's acting in this instance as an advisory board with regard to public health and safety.
I am asking, can that committee make a decision, like the decision we made closing Lincoln Park Days? Or is it a council decision?
Well, ultimately, all of the decisions made in the community, unless otherwise abrogated by charter or by statute, are done by the mayor and council. So as a general answer, that's correct. As to the composition of this committee, which is common through all of the communities, it's primarily a recommendation that the governing bodies have acceded to, and it's with everything else. And you can act in reverse and not make the decision or not affirm their recommendation, and then you act at your own peril. So you're correct. The city council and the mayor are the governing body of the community. Historically, they have voted to affirm professional recommendations, and of course, in your history in the community, you know there have been times when certain council members didn't, to their peril, or the body didn't, sometimes to the peril of the professional recommendation. So that is a council decision, ultimately, unless there's some statutory authority that allows these de facto commissions or committees to overrule the city council, such as decisions by the Public Safety Commission here in the city, or the Dangerous Buildings Boards, things like that. So the generic answer is council has the ultimate authority.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't ever want to sit in this chair again.
Yeah, I hear you. Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Mayor, if I may make one more comment.
Go ahead, sir.
I do want to say I respect the committees, what they are saying. I understand they are the professionals, and I understand they get a lot of information. I am not denying that at any point. I am simply saying that I believe it is should be the council's decision.
Okay.
Through the chair, if I may, to finish this up, if I may be recognized.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say the same thing Councilman Higgins just said. Remember, when you make a decision, you're right, Councilman, we are responsible. That's correct. So if we make a decision, good, bad, or different, you're right, we own it. We can't say somebody else told us yes to or no to. We own the decision. So I agree with you 100%. This council owns the decision. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Then we will call for the vote on the amendment. This is for the amendment only.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Carnes,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
No.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Tobin.
No.
So
Okay,
that amendment passed.
so that amendment passed, and so the,
On the original resolution?
voted the original resolution as amended. Clerk, call the roll?
Okay. Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman Higgins?
No.
Dupre?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Tobin.
No.
Okay. That one passed as well.
All right, so I think in the process of this, we got, just making sure I'm on the right spot here. All right, in background, this is from Doreen Christian, Director of Office of Community Planning and Development, and the subject of reprogramming 2016-17 CDBG budget. And the residential rehab program for 2016-17 budget year was allocated funding. According to HUD guidelines, we must first spend all program income resulting from the program before utilizing entitlement funds. Over the past few years, the program has received an abundance of repayments on deferred loans from the sale of property. Due to these payments, I wish to reprogram funds to Parks and Recreation. These funds will replace the playground equipment at Council Point Park, add $10,000 to the Wayne County Parks grant for Memorial Park playground equipment, and purchase new basketball backboards and net for Youth Center Park. So the resolution is, whereas the playscape at Council Point Park needs to be replaced, and whereas a new playscape will be placed at Memorial Park with Wayne County Parks funds, therefore be resolved that $42,518.61 be reprogrammed from the 2016-17 CDBG activity of residential rehab into the 2016-17 CDBG Parks and Recreation, with $10,000 being added to Wayne County grant for the Memorial Park playscape and the remainder for the Council Point Park playscape.
So moved.
Discussion?
I'm sorry, there should be another line on there that says, be it further resolved that the CDBG Parks and Recreation Director be authorized to solicit bids for the playscape equipment at Council Point Park.
Was that the,
Revised.
that's the revised one?
Yeah.
Excuse me then for a second.
And so I'm okay with it.
Oh, and that is, be further resolved that the CDBG Parks and Recreation Director be authorized to solicit bids for the playscape equipment at Council Point Park. That is what was missing, and Councilman Higgins is good with the, as the mover. Supporter was,
I think it was me. All right?
okay.
That's what I had.
Are you good with that addition, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, then, there's a discussion on the resolution. Hearing none, and then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right, of the miscellaneous, is there a certain order? I'll just go with the first one that I have.
Whatever one you want.
Beautiful. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park received Wayne County Park Millage funding 2019-2020 for improvements at Kennedy Memorial Building's band shell. Whereas the intergovernmental agreement for the park millage has been executed by the City of Lincoln Park and returned to Wayne County. And whereas the City of Lincoln Park made a request to include the band shell stage repair in the grant and was approved. Therefore, be it resolved that Grit Services be awarded the bid to repair the band shell's concrete stage with option 1 with a price not to exceed $15,900. Funds to come from Wayne County Park Millage for fiscal year 2019-2020, and account number 410-001-983000. And in discussion, there were two bids that were received. Grid Services was $15,100. And then Ram Construction, $27,220. And it was, and then it was the review committee to include option one, a joint between concrete slab on grade and vertical brick wall in the award. So it's moving into discussion. Is, yes, go ahead.
Your Honor, I was just curious if we were going to be able to get this work done this year. Yeah.
From what I'd heard before, yes, so I think that it was going to be, but Doreen, go ahead. Doreen Christian.
As soon as September 2nd concert is over with, I'm going to send them an agreement to go September 3rd. They said it should take, keep your fingers crossed with weather, 30 days, and they should have it done. What is the biggest problem is getting the stage done to allow the cement underneath it to dry out, to do the underneath of it in the basement. So,
Okay.
but there's help, they can do it.
Thank you, Doreen.
To the chair,
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
does this include repairing room C at the band show once the stage is repaired? Or is that going to be another item?
No, that's part of it. That's all part of the original bid. They're gonna put, whatever the technical term is, to redo the underneath side where the cement has been, in trouble. They gotta let that cement dry out. They'll redo it and it's gonna be completely painted. Now, it doesn't include a new, ceiling down there, but it will include the repair of the underneath of the stage and the, repainting of it, so that there's no lead paint or anything we have to worry about having kids downstairs for dance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further discussion? And then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Urban,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. The next item that we have is in reference to Lincoln Park Days, and then a little bit of discussion with this, or prequel, basically, is the special event permit that was for Lincoln Park Days was issued by council, and as an alternative to still have some type of event going there, that the Exchange Club was looking to have the food vendors from the carnival to put on a food truck thing similar that Councilwoman Tobin arranged some 6-7 months ago, or maybe a little bit longer. So that is what is with this. Whereas the number of COVID cases in Wayne County is increasing daily, and whereas the Lincoln Park Days is a large-scale event attended by a significant number of children who are ineligible for vaccination, and whereas the Emergency Operations Committee has determined that the event cannot proceed safely and has canceled the event to the public, now therefore be it resolved that Resolution number 2021-264 authorizing Lincoln Park Days be and is hereby amended to limit the event to a carnival food truck event in the community center parking lot and require that all other activities are hereby canceled.
I'll move on it.
So we'll move to discussion.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Is this one going to be drive-through like the last one?
Yeah, that was the idea.
Okay.
Okay, now, in speaking with the owner of the carnival earlier, I thought that he was looking to to speak at the meeting here. Is Doug with us? I don't see that. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'll go back to council for discussion. Go ahead.
I'll wait.
All right.
I just want to bring up the same thing I brought up earlier. It should be the council's decision whether or not to allow Lincoln Park Days. It should not be, the committee should not have been allowed to just decide that. That it should come before the council.
Well, in discussion with that, sir, you see that is what is being done with this special event permit. The event is being itself is being modified, but then the other activities are hereby canceled. So it is through the order of council that would be taking place.
Through the chair, Your Honor, a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
So was it the Carnival Ride Company that pulled out, or was that the emergency team decided not to have the carnival rides because of the kids?
No, the Carnival Company is adamant that they could do it safely. That has been approved by the state health department in the process of doing it. It was the members of the committee who pointed out the rise in the number of cases, the susceptibility to the group of 12 and under, who would be a good portion of the people that would be there attending this. And it was determined that they could not do it safely in the minds of the committee members for the kids. And so for the sake of the children, it was that decision was made.
So once again, my comment on this is, once again, I believe that's the parents' decision to send their children. But anyway, are we still going to have the car show and vendors on hand for this event? As we normally do? The Vegas Club, whatever?
No, there wasn't going to be a Vegas tent. I don't think that there was going to be a car show scheduled for this year, because a lot of vendors were hesitant on doing that. This isn't something to where they can continue to go and so you could do this with and have Lincoln Park Days without the carnival, but that would be an undue burden on the Exchange Club itself, who look to the carnival to recoup their losses and the money that they put in to cover the DPS expenses, the police expenses that they have to pay, and different things for the park itself. So it could have it with that, but it would not be cost effective for the Exchange Club to do that. They'd have to operate it at a loss. So if the carnival can't be, then they're not going to be able to put the whole event on.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Further discussion?
Yeah, through the chair, if I may, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I'm to understand the Exchange Club actually runs this. All we do is give them the permit. Am I correct, Your Honor?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so the city, it's not really a city event. We just give them the permit, but the Exchange Fund has the liability clauses and all the payments and stuff like that. Am I correct, Your Honor?
Yes, that is. The city has, it's known as a city event. The people think that it's a city event, but it's actually put on by the Exchange Club that bear most of the expenses for that.
And the Exchange Club, one more comment, the Exchange Club has the liability. Am I correct, Your Honor?
Liability for?
If something would happen, don't they take out an insurance policy in case?
Yes, they have. They have to take out an extra insurance due to the selling of beer, but for events owned, they have potential for liability also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, further? Yes, go ahead.
So, as I know, there was a car show scheduled
for
the event, and the vendors and everything else. And I understand completely about the children, but like Carlos said, that would be a parental decision. I don't think that's a city decision, since we don't have any mandates in place that require you to wear masks or then not hold large gatherings. I completely understand what the DOC is saying, but there's a lot of people that are depending on Lincoln Park Days. Some of them have the biggest events of the year at Lincoln Park Days, and that's income to them. And I think as a council, we need to consider all the aspects and see if there is something or somehow that we can put in place, something that we put the children under the age of 12 are mandatory masks, a lot of hand washing stations, sanitation stations, that kind of thing. So we look at this in a whole picture of everybody that's involved, not just the losses to the Exchange Club and what we want to be able to do for our community, but also for the losses for the vendors, the losses for the food trucks that are coming, the bands that are booked. All these groups of people are going to be losing a lot of income. And since other areas are still holding these, they have to be doing something, a plan for that age group. And if the Carnival thinks that they can do it safely, I think we need to look further into that. And maybe Debbie Van Cleve is on, maybe she can give us some more insight.
Well, in the end, with this, the committee made the determination based on the safety of the kids. These are items that were brought up and they were discussed. There is alternatives that, as far as the elimination of the beer tent, the elimination of entertainment, but it all came back to the capabilities and how to make sure that the kids would be safe in these circumstances. And the vast majority of the Emergency Operations Center team committee felt that could not be done. So I personally would have a difficult time going against that. I mean, it's all financial for everyone else, but if we put somebody at risk for this and then they do, then, I mean, that's something we'd all have to live with. But St. Pius has canceled theirs. It's a difficult decision. It's not easy. So, but Debbie, do you have the wish to be heard on that? Debbie Van Cleve? He's the treasurer of the Park Exchange Club.
I do know that the Carnival had like the extra hand washing stations and all the safety measures in place, and they have been running carnivals since early spring when they were allowed to reopen. And they have been doing it safely and haven't had any incidents that they have been made aware of. And yes, there are vendors booked, there's bands booked, there's car show booked. And Maureen was correct that a lot of these vendors, it's like their biggest fundraiser type things of the year.
But the total amount of vendors are down for this year, is that right?
We do have a little bit less vendors, yes.
Okay. All right, do we have further discussion?
I would also like to, I just want to echo what our colleague Carlos said. It's a parent's decision. And also we could, as a council, say everyone at a certain age has to have a mask. And we have that power.
But it's about enforcing the mask protocol and doing that. You know that that's an extremely difficult thing to do. And when you have limited amount of police or reserve forces there, that is basically it's a wish thing. We're telling them to put their mask on, but there's really nothing we can do about it if they don't. Folks,
Your Honor.
it's just in a second. You have to look at this. The recommendation was made to you. It wasn't made lightly. It is a concern that they have, in reference to the amount of cases that are coming up, the variant, the Delta variant, and it is things to be concerned with, that there is a spike that's going on here. But go ahead, Councilman Kelsey, go ahead.
Yeah, I would, thank you, Your Honor. What I'd like to say is that today at the Police Commission meeting, our Chief Waters indicated the Cops Care Picnic, they're going to do a drive-through for the kids. They're not going to have them congregate, they're not giving hot dogs out, they're not doing volleyball. They're going to have a police officer with a mask on and have the individuals driving their car and then reach in and see how many kids are in the car and give them their backpacks because of the same thing we're talking about. They've already decided they're not going to do that. And if you're well aware of it, they have that big thing for the kids at the Gregory Park, Youth Center Park, however you want to call it, and they decided to go the other way out of abundance of caution because of their kids also. I might say that I would have a hard time, and I have to agree with the mayor, of saying that we're going to mandate who wears a mask and who doesn't wear a mask. I mean, even the federal government can't do that. So I don't think we have that power. If we do, I'm very all for it because I like power. I have no problem with that. But I just like to say that everybody's going to lose money. I don't put money over kids or my health or anybody's health. I'm sorry, I won't do that. And the council has taken the ability to have these committees, and we do get recommendations from all the committees. We just did, in another vein, as an example, we did Labus to be the deputy chief by a committee who recommended to us. So we do take the recommendations from our commissions or councils. That's all I'm going to say. I think the issue has been well discussed, Your Honor, and thank you for your time.
Okay. Fire Chief Steve Martin, could you, I may have missed something from the meeting from this morning and from yesterday also. So if you could touch base with what was discussed at the meeting and the concerns that were made.
I think we covered just about everything, Your Honor, but just to reiterate, I mean, we watched the CDC numbers, we watched the county numbers very closely. We keep in contact with the surrounding communities, and we try to make the best recommendations we can. And they're not easy decisions to make because you're trying to guess what's going to happen a week down the line. We do know that we're trending in a direction that's difficult to make decisions when you're trending upwards. If we were trending downwards, the conversation would be a lot easier. But I think you covered just about everything. We're trying to make the safest recommendation for the citizens, for the kids. We have a large population that would be attending Lincoln Park Days that aren't eligible to be vaccinated. With food and everything, you're gonna, even if you wore your mask, you're gonna take it off to eat. You're gonna be closely congregated on the rides. It's just we're trying to do the best we can, and I understand that everybody's very passionate about this, and the last thing we want to do is financially hurt anybody. But we're trying to make the best, safest, most responsible recommendation that we can.
Then also mentioned was the police presence at the event. Chief Waters is having a difficult time getting people to voluntarily fill in. I think that there's two, and had issues about having the officers volunteer for what could be an exposure risk for them. But that was just what was discussed. So further discussion with this. Okay, then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes. Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
No.
Ross,
Yes, sorry.
Salcido,
No,
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, then we'll move on to the action item that was, or the item that was dropped out of the consent thing. Resolved that a study session be scheduled for Tuesday, September 7, 2021 at 6 p.m. regarding water rates and the staffing of the Traffic Division of the Police Department, Be further resolved that in accordance with Public Act 254 of 2020 and Wayne County's emergency order, the City of Lincoln Park will conduct this meeting remotely using Zoom. This action is intended to facilitate necessary city business without unduly compromising public health, safety, and welfare. Attendees may participate in the meeting using Zoom, either online or by phone.
Second for discussion.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I really wanted to say something, so I'll leave the floor to him first.
No, I just so moved. I don't know if I got that. I stepped away from my computer. That's all. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would actually like to add a third subject or ask for another study session for alleys on the north end. I've asked for this a couple of times, and so I'd like to tack it on to this resolution so that we actually get a meeting. If I could get a second on that.
I don't know if I can second it because I already moved.
I would second it if you would include all alleys, Councilman Higgins.
I'll make it all alleys.
Support.
Okay, now there is an hour and a half that is set aside for this, from 6 to 7:30. Mr. Kazan, do you think that that's enough time for all of the now possible 3 items to be considered?
I might be able to squeeze it in.
If not, I'm okay with it if we want to put it on the 14th, but I don't want that meeting to happen.
Please, I'm asking that if you're going to talk, be recognized. So we have an amendment to the resolution. Is there questions on the amendment?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Are you asking for questions on the amendment?
Questions on the amendment, yes.
Yes. I don't know. Questions or discussion?
Discussion.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to make sure that we have the attorney there for the alleys, and we have the DPS director and the chief of police, Your Honor, when we discuss the alleys. Thank you. And the DPS director.
Okay, further discussion on the amendment? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross, yes, Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. So we'll now move to go to the, call the roll on the resolution as amended.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross, yes, Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Cox.
Yes. So we have next, the first item has, on accounts and claims payable, has been paid to the check release for due date. That'd be Wayne County 2021 right of first refusal property. So we have resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. Wayne County 2021 right of first refusal property, $81,474.73. GLWA June 2021 billing for water, $205,942.41. Hennessy Engineers, KMB Beam Repairs, DWRF, SEMCOG Water Infrastructure, General Consulting, Water Sampling, Bridge Inspections, River Drive Recon, SRF Sewer Rehab, Lafayette Water Main Relocation, Concrete Sectioning, Utility Pavement Repairs, Howard and Abbott Paving, Concrete Recon, and Asphalt Resurfacing, $138,745.76. DUWA, Principal and Interest, DWN RVR sewage bonds, August 2021 excess flow charges, $315,506.97. DTE Energy July 2021 electric, gas, street, and traffic lights, $69,548.10. GV Cement 2021 concrete reconstruction, $59,638.54. MERS July 2021 defined benefit, $246,097. National Faith first-time home buyers, $25,050. RVP Construction 2021 Lafayette Water Main Project, $215,978.63.
I'll move on that, your question.
Support.
All right, going to discussion. Councilman Kelsey, go ahead.
Yes, I've previously asked these two questions of the city manager, and he responded, but I still have an issue with these two items on the register. One of them was statement number 101-000-370-FRO. It was for $90 for a dinner for the Ellen Turner Band. And my question was, why are we paying the band $90 when we pay them anyways? The city manager told me that's part of the contract that we signed. I still have an issue. I mean, I don't have a problem paying for the bands, and I don't have a problem if we want to throw them some kind of thing, but, you know, I mean, whoever, I mean, my point of it is, why are we doing this? And it's already done. I'm not going to argue the issue, but I'd like to have somebody start looking at some of this stuff, only because of the fact that if we do it for one, we should do it for all. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. My other issue is that we need to change the event coordinator stamp on some of these things, and because Maureen's off of it now, and start doing what we're supposed to, and have somebody responsible for this. We don't have an event coordinator yet, Your Honor, but we still are doing contracts, so somebody needs to look at these and to sign off on them and move them forward. And to the point of, I guess, how do you call it, keeping housekeeping would be a better question, Your Honor. That's the only issue I have. And like I said, these issues are done, but I think going forward, we need to take a look. Thank you, Norman.
Okay, further discussion?
Through the chair,
Yes, ma'am.
can I answer Larry's questions?
It's discussion, go ahead.
Larry, the reason that Alan Turner gets that dinner is because it's a rider on their contract, and they have been getting that every year that they've played for the past 4 or 5 years. It's written into the contract when we sign it. As far as the event coordinator signatures, any signatures with my name on those contracts were signed before I became a council member, and everyone since I become a council member is left blank for James to sign.
Through the chair, thank you, Maureen. I appreciate that. And that was my point about, thank you for the explanation, but my point was, I think the issue was that if it is, that's fine, but I still don't agree with it, but it is. The other issue is, I don't see James's name on there. I look at all the payables. I sit up there every Friday, every 2 weeks. So housekeeping is what I'm asking, Your Honor, that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. And thank you, Maureen. Through the chair, thank you, Maureen. I appreciate explaining that. Thank you. I didn't know all that part. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Our city manager can address that in his report. So is there further discussion? Then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Council.
Yes. So we now move on to the city manager's report. Mr. Grzan?
Yes, hi. Thank you very much, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Just quickly on that last little topic, I think it's a product of kind of a messy transition and still trying to fill a position in a very difficult hiring time, but we will definitely keep our eye on it and do better. And to that, I don't have a whole lot tonight as I've been out of town for the last week. But to that note also, if I owe you an email or a phone call, don't worry, I am getting back to people. I'm getting there. Came back to a little bit of a mountain, but we'll get through it. We'll congratulate donations to a bunch of the area firefighting units here, a lot of the fire departments got together, wind up being the lead department, receiving over $500,000 for self-contained breathing apparatus for the different departments. So that's exciting news. Also this week, the mayor did mention the Ecorse Creek cleanup, and I do think there's a big benefit to doing multiple events of this nature during the year, because the amount of refuse that was taken out of the creek and the park was significantly less than it has been when we've done single events. There is one more September 11th. Afterwards, there's going to be a lunch and a raffle. So look for more information on that. Also, over the last week, the mayor mentioned the storms, and I do want to make note that while we did have significant street and surface flooding, we've only had 3 reported basement backups during a pretty significant rainstorm. So it does indicate to me that a lot of the work we've been doing it's slowly making improvements, because storms like we've been having, if we had them 15 years ago, we would have had a significantly higher number of basement backups. So continuing to shore up the system is so important, and we are definitely getting there, but we have a lot more to go. You guys will all learn a little bit more of what's coming next during the study session next meeting. Other than that, I am happy to take any questions you may have.
For the sheriff, I may, Your Honor. Oh, sorry.
I had to unmute myself there. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry. Hey, James, welcome back from vacation. I'm glad you had a good time, because we have some stuff for you, or I do anyway. The DPS survey, where are we at with that?
So I reached out. That was one of my priorities when I got back. I reached out. I should have more information this week, for sure.
All right, so you'll send the email to see if we're done with it. We can get on with that.
Yeah, I should have more already, hopefully.
A couple other issues. We were supposed to do a building department review in August. We started in April, talked about it in May, and I think Council President Saucedo made a motion to put it back on in August. I haven't seen it. August is done. This is the last meeting in August. And I don't care which way it goes, but we agreed to revisit it and talk about it, and we haven't done that. And we made a motion to that, so it's council. It goes back to what we discussed. The council's directive was that we revisit it, and I'd like to see it back on the agenda.
Okay.
The other thing is that the police department review, I don't think you ever found it yet.
I have not.
All right, so I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, it is what it is. The other issue is that the court audits. I see the court is still, from the last email they sent us, you were out of town, I think, when they sent it to us, a long email. They're still working on them, and what I understand is, I reread the agreement, the agreement says that the only time they give audits is when the council, the management council of the court asks for them. So I guess from now on, as a city, we need to ask for the audits every year to make sure we're giving them. And I don't understand why the council is, I guess what I'm saying, not directing the court to do more than what they are for the audits. 2017 was not a pandemic. We were not in a recession. The court didn't flood. The building didn't burn. And I'm just trying to get the point across is that, come on, some of this stuff is not rocket scientists. And I guess I'm kind of frustrated because we did give the court their money, if you remember, and one of it was when the judge come on, that he would have the audits done by the end of June or July. This is August, the second week, and we're still talking about back in 2017. Sorry, don't want to be the old horse, but that's where I'm at with that one. One thing I think that Councilman Higgins asked a while back, and I'm kind of interested in, is where are the minutes for the emergency management meetings? I haven't seen one. I mean, they must be keeping minute meetings. I just was curious, without us debating and wasting council time, as we could read them, we kind of understand where they're coming from. And I don't think much I mean, that's my point. I mean, other commissions give it to us. We get them from other, I'm just looking, can we get them?
Right. So, quickly on that point, and I'll just jump in real quick back, I agree with you on the court audits. I'm
Thank you.
equally, if not more frustrated. However, as far as the minutes of the EOC goes, due to the sensitive nature of a lot of the topics, there aren't any specific minutes. However, when recommendations are made, those have been forwarded to mayor and council, either through an email or through an avenue like tonight.
Okay, I won't belittle that, but tonight we got it, but I have never seen any other notification, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent.
No, typically when we've had kind of recommendations, I've added them in various emails I've sent out.
You are correct. You are correct. I just looked at it, yes. And my last thing, and this is not for you, so I'll leave it till we go underneath the council's reports. Thank you, and thank you again for coming back. I thought maybe you'd leave and never come back.
The mountains were nice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there,
Thank you, James.
do you have further? Yes, go ahead.
Where's our DPS review? It's been a while now. It's been,
That's what we were just talking about. That was a priority when I first got back, was to reach out. I should have something this week.
Through the chair?
Councilman Higgins, were you set?
yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
James, do we have an update on the sweepers?
I do not have an update as of today. However, I can definitely get one.
Please. There's Goddard especially, I can tell, has not been swept, and it is horrible. And then you guys got my email where a rock flew up and hit the side of my car. So
Right.
I hate to think that something worse would happen to an individual instead of property. But yeah, we definitely need to look into that. Whether we I believe Mr. Kazoo sent an email with some prices, some quotes. So I don't know if maybe when you get your information, we should schedule a study session. But we're going to have to address that.
Your Honor, if I may, if Lillian's done.
Well, let's give opportunities for the rest of them, then I'll circle back to you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Through the chair,
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm just wondering if you can give me any update on when the concrete that was torn up at the tennis courts in Memorial Park is going to be removed. Over the week, well, when we had the storm, all the pylons and the tape were blown down, and they weren't set back up till today, and it's really distressing that, kids, especially little boys, want to climb on everything, and that's all laying there and wasn't roped off for many, many days, and I'm wondering if you know when that will be cleaned up.
I do not, but that is something I will find out.
Okay, and the other thing is that there's so many complaints about the Zoom meetings and us not meeting in person and the quality of the sound on the meetings. And I was just wondering, and I think it might be a good idea if it's feasible, that if we have a meeting on Monday, if on Friday of that week, we could kind of do a minute type thing or some kind of informational sheet of what was covered in the meeting, and get it out to the residents by email or social media or something to let them know that we are trying to communicate with them. We hear so much about, they can't get on the meetings, they don't have the internet, they don't have a computer, they get on the meetings, they can't hear us, they don't understand us. So as a way to reaching them, maybe we could put like a little synopsis of what we covered on the last meeting out by the Friday of that week to let people know what we're doing. So it's just a thought that, a way to reach more of our residents, to let them know that we are working and we understand their pain, that they can't do what they want to do, so we can give them some information.
We can look into that for sure.
Okay, and other than that, the other thing is Youth Center Park. It's kind of a mess still. Is there any plans to continue cleaning that up? You know, the last time we talked about it, and we were talking about the cement pad and the basketball court, the garbage in the park that's just up against the fences and all that stuff. Is anything going to be done to clean that up?
Yeah, that was actually one of the things I was speaking to the supervisor of the work program about, was specific projects and trying to schedule some stuff. So
Good, thank you. That's all I have.
And before I go back to Councilman Kelsey, the Councilwoman Dupre, did you have anything for the city manager?
No, not tonight, thank you.
Okay, very good. Councilman Kelsey, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Carlos, go ahead.
I just want to say, on August 11th, Mr. Kazoo did put on extensive follow-up on the sweepers. It does not look good. I won't comment on that no more. And also in April, I did bring up to revisit the building house, or the building department, are we going to bring it in-house or not? So that was brought up in an April meeting. I meant to bring it up last meeting, so I hope that will make the agenda. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Kelsey, go ahead.
I guess a question of decorum or a question of procedure, Your Honor. The study session, I want to get a study session for the sweepers. I understand we don't have new business on the agenda. The only thing left we have is the department report, then citizens, and then council report. Where would I make the indication so I can get count, or if somebody wanted to support that? Where would I do that, Your Honor? Because we can't meet.
In your, that would be in your comments, sir.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I'm all set then. Thank you.
All right, very good. Anything further for Mr. Kazan? Okay, hearing none, then we will move on to our department head report. Tonight we have our finance director, Lisa Griggs. So, Lisa? You're muted, Lisa.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, very good.
Good evening. Sorry, unfortunately my PowerPoint is not up on the screen. I wasn't able to connect earlier. So I don't have a whole lot. I know it's late. I just want to give an update on the 2021 fiscal year and where we stand with that. Very early, the fiscal year just ended. We still have a lot of outstanding items that we're paying for year end, as well as audit entries that will be made over the coming weeks. So preliminary numbers are looking pretty good. It looks like we're going to have a contribution to fund balance this year. But again, it's early, so I don't have a dollar amount to give you at this point. But there were some good notes in the fiscal year. Some of them I talked about during the budget meeting. We did receive about $137,000 in marijuana fees for the year that were not originally anticipated. We also received $156,000 in additional COVID funds for the public safety grant, so that was reimbursement for the public safety wages. Fortunately, they had additional money that they were able to distribute to the communities, so we could receive that portion, so that's good. The building department revenue, originally we thought was going to be affected pretty hard by COVID, but that seems to be coming in pretty strong. They finished about $20,000 over the budget amount. Some of our big hit ticket items in the fiscal year were the community center and the Parks and Rec programs. As you know, they were shut down most of the year with COVID restrictions, so we didn't recognize much revenue there. And then, of course, the big one that we've all talked about is the court revenue. That was down to $1.5 million. We're still looking into the exact reason why it's still continuing to lag down so much. We really need that. We rely on that revenue pretty heavily. It pays for the police department operations and all of the tickets that they write. So we're continuing to watch that. So that's kind of a quick overview of the last fiscal year. And then looking at the current fiscal year that we just started, we're only a month into it. Again, a big item that we're watching is the court revenue. The July revenue came in much lower than we had hoped. We're starting to see it start to trend upward, but that does not appear to be the case yet. We'll continue to watch that. We may have to make some adjustments as the year goes on. Some other revenues that have been affected by COVID, we're hoping that they'll begin to return to pre-COVID levels. So we're getting that booked up for the upcoming season. Parks and Rec programs started to come back a little bit. We are doing building rentals again, so that's helping. So most of those items, other than the court revenue, seem to be going back in the right direction. The other big items that are kind of hanging out there, we'll have a study session coming up for the water and sewer rates and adjust those. Those will go into effect, I believe our plan right now is October 1st. And then Mayor and Council will approve the ARPA funding plan. So 1.4 million of that is about what's anticipated right now to go to general fund. So those projects will be designated by Mayor and Council at the upcoming meeting, and then we'll be able to proceed with that. And then again, any big items like the court revenue, if that just continues to stay low, we did anticipate that going back to the normal levels of 3.3 million for the year. So far, it's not looking that way. So we'll more than likely have to make an adjustment to that at some point. And to talk a little bit about the water and sewer, the water office operations. I want to give you a little update on the shut-off process. As you may recall, last year we were not able to do any shut-offs because of the moratorium by the governor. So that really affected our cash flow for the year. So this year we did begin doing the process again. We took a much scaled-back approach because we didn't want to overwhelm. We knew there would be a lot of accounts that were capped too. We didn't want to overwhelm DPS with a large number of red tags and shutoffs and more than they can handle. I know they're short-staffed as well. So we kind of scaled it back a little. We're only doing one round this year. So far, we've gotten through 4 districts almost completely. We have 7 districts total. We've sent out 700 notices and red tagged about 300 of those homes. But we've fortunately only shut off 23 properties so far. We're still working in District 4, so that's not included. So it's only about 1% of the notices that go out that actually get shut off. Almost everybody enters into a payment plan. We're very flexible with those, and we try to work with them as much as we can. We also refer them over to Wayne Metro for assistance. They will help assist those that are behind on their water bills. And there was some additional funding that came out this year through COVID funds for renters, so they got additional assistance for water bills as well. So that's really, I think, helps keep some of those properties out of shut-off status. But, we try to work with them as much as we can, but at the same time, we need the cash in the fund in order to pay for all of the capital projects we have going on. And as was presented a while ago in the water rate study, cash is a big issue in that fund. And so we do continue to try to get as much coming back in as we can. So the next quarter report, I'll have an update. I'll kind of do a synopsis at that point of where we were in, a normal shut-off year compared to where we are this year with that year lag in between of not being able to do shut-offs, just to kind of see, have we seen a big spike in the past 2 months? You kind of take a bird's eye view at all of that. And then just to touch on a few miscellaneous items. The annual audit will begin October 4th, so we're in the process of prepping for that. And we have all of our annual reports that will be coming up in December, the Act 51, the F-65, all of those reports that are required in order for us to continue to receive state funding. So we have some that are due in October and some that are due at the end of the year. So once the audit's complete, we'll be able to process those and get those going, but we always make sure we're keeping those up to date in order to keep our funds coming in. There's quite a few grant requirements now with some of these funds that have come through for COVID. So there's more reporting requirements. There's one coming up that's due at the end of this month as well, a preliminary one. For the ARPA funds, actually, even though we haven't spent them, we have to report on them already. So always lots of requirements. That's really all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
You have somebody that left the office, so I understand that there's a shortage on that. How is the process going for replacement?
Yep, so Jennifer Brown, she left into the position somewhere else. So the position was vacant for a little bit, but we have filled the position in-house. Lisa Jones has stepped into that role. So we're just starting training, and then now we're in the process of backfilling her position as well.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Did you have anything for Lisa?
question through the chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Lisa, we got a document sent by the court last week, and then one of the attachments that talked about they took the money that they feel they're owed out of the money they sent to us. Is that affecting us in any way or not really?
I mean, yeah, it pretty much is. I think our check was about $83,000 after they took that out. Compared to, it should have been, $133,000, I think, or something. And yeah, so definitely that affects us, especially considering that the revenue coming in from the court is so much lower than has been. We're used to receiving like over $200,000 a month. And this past year, it's been, 20, 130, so it's way down.
Okay, so it is affecting us. Okay, thank you, Lisa.
No problem.
Thank you.
Lisa, would it be possible for the city to completely take over finances for the court?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Would it be possible for the city to, since it's for us to completely take over management of the financials for the court, as there seems to be a problem with them doing things in the proper way?
I don't know if I should speak to that. I think that's more of a, I know.
Manager position, yes.
Yeah.
I withdraw the question. Anything further for our finance director? All right, Lisa, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Now move into citizen communications. James, if you could free up the mics, or not free them up, but unmute them. There we go. That would be what I'm talking about. Is there anyone wishing to address the mayor and council?
Hi, Leslie Benjamin Wilson, if I may. Hi, thank you for coming out to the market yesterday, Mayor Carnes, as well as Councilwoman Tobin. Just want to remind everybody that the farmers market is every Sunday, 11 to 3 at the southwest corner. I'm sorry for the dog. At the southwest corner of 4th Street and Southfield. And just a reminder, we participate in the food assistance programs, Bridge Card, Double Up Food Bucks, WIC Project Fresh, and Senior Project Fresh. And our vendors also, of course, accept cash. Thank you.
Yes, you have made a lot of opportunities for people that are struggling to get fresh food. So, the council, we thank you for that. It's a job well done.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address council? Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Then we'll move on to oral reports of the council. Council President Salcido.
Thank you, Honor. Just two items, really. I would hope that we would post on our billboards around town about the cancellation of Lincoln Park Days. Maybe put them, due to the Emergency Operations Committee, but it was for the vote of everybody. So, I do respect that committee. It's a tough decision to make. We have to adhere by it, although, I've already mentioned my sentiment that sometimes the show must go on. But anyway, I hope everybody has a safe, enjoyable Labor Day. See you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Councilman Higgins.
Yes, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for all the well wishes and everything. I was exposed to the COVID, and I have sat out and hid in my basement for a week and a half. And but I have been given a negative test, and I will be back out on the road and doing my Facebook thing starting tomorrow morning. And thank you again for everybody who's given me well wishes. I'm overwhelmed. Secondly, I would like to welcome and congratulate the Plaza Collectibles. It's in the old Blockbuster building, or for us who have been around a little bit longer, in the old Cunningham building at the Plaza. It opened today, and it has a lot of nice collectibles in there. And it's not a typical resale shop, but a collectible shop. Something I recommend everybody who likes collectibles discussing things, go on down and take a look. And welcome them to the community. I'd like to, I guess that's about it for this evening. Oh, one more thing. I forgot earlier today, if I may ask the city manager one question. It's been on the mind of a lot of people who have been asking. What happened? Why still no marijuana shops are still not open? What's going on? Can you give me an answer?
I believe at least one was recently up in front of the planning commission. I think a second one was also, but I'd have to double check on it.
I know one was approved by the building department and that department, and nothing since then.
Yeah, I don't think there's any kind of policy issue. I think it's just taking them a little while to do what they need to do to get the building ready.
Through the chair, if I may.
Well, we're on oral reports of the council here, so.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I had to do it later, but I forgot. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Councilwoman Tobin.
Well, I don't have much. I want to say the exhibition at the museum was really, really nice. Well done. He gave a very nice speech, and like Tom said, he is still a big kid, which is really refreshing in this day and age. I want to thank Leslie for all the work she does at the farmers market, because she does a really good job and it is a lot of work. So thank you, Leslie. And I want to give a shout out to Annette DiMaggio. Annette takes care of a lot of the plants down at the band shell. And if you're there and you see the little flowers on the side by the steps by the senior center, she keeps that up so nice. And every week I could go in there and she has something new in that little flower bed. And it's just fun and it looks great. And I just want to say thank you, Annette, for everything that you do. Other than that, everybody be safe. Have a great Labor Day weekend and see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to start off with the employment opportunities with the city. We have crossing guard, a full-time administrative clerk, with the understanding that this is to create an eligibility list. We have a full-time firefighter, a full-time mechanic, a full-time police officer, part-time community events coordinator, and a part-time recreation attendant. So please pass that information along. There's a lot more information on those on the website. I was one that didn't have power for a few days. And I got on my email today and DTE had sent me an email wanting feedback. So I gave that to them. So my point in bringing this up is just to let you know that there might be an email there for you. And please, I say do it. If it helps them provide us better service in the future, I say let's do it. Mayor already mentioned, but it's worth repeating, the vaccine clinic at the Lincoln Park Community Center is Wednesday from 2 to 8 p.m. And have a safe and happy Labor Day. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Kelsey.
Thank you, Leonard. I got a few issues. Sorry if I drag this on a little bit, but there's a lot of issues going on. One of them is that, I don't know if you know, I sent you all an email, is that ever since I've been on council, I've been a kind of a passion of mine, the Dixon I-75 area to be cleaned up by the county and state. Anyways, if you see my last email, the county and state basically come out there, cut the grass, clean some stuff up. But they also wanted a meeting with somebody from the city, and I wanted to get the council's, how they feel about it, because that's where we're at with this discussion, so that we make sure that the state and the county are on the same page every year. If you look at that area down there on I-75 and Dix, they never cut the grass, they never clean anything up. The only time they do it is when somebody gets on them, and the reason I got them again this year is that the DPS were told to go down there and clean some stuff up. And quite frankly, they got better jobs to do than go down to the state and the county's job. And anyways, I'm at the point where we need to decide as a council, and you all got the last email, I included you all on that, about the discussion between the county and the state and what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do. And it's in your hands now, what the council wants to do with that, as far as whether they want to go forward with it, do a study session on it, whatever you want to do. That's where it's at. The other issue is the sweepers. We all know the email we got. Right now, we have no sweepers at all working in the city. None. After all the stuff that we repaired, and you all got the email. So I'm looking to the chair, if it's appropriate, Your Honor, to have, if somebody wants to second a motion, to do a study session on the sweepers at our next available time, if that's appropriate, Your Honor.
Well, we have a study session already set for the first meeting in September, so that would be, what would the second meeting be, Carrie?
September 20th.
So for September 20th, is it, you're looking for an hour? Is that,
I think that would be appropriate. We all got the documentation, Your Honor, so we all know what the issue is. The bottom line is, what do we do or don't do? But those sweepers were in violation, but we all got the email. So that, yeah, now we're behind, Your Honor.
so we have a motion for that. Is there,
Mr. Chair, I'll be glad to second that.
all right, then, all in, clerk call the roll.
So we're setting
A study session for September 20th at 6:30 to discuss.
6:30?
6:30 to discuss street sweepers.
Okay. Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
And, Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that, the city manager...
Sir, this isn't the appropriate time for that. We have Mr. Kelsey down here. Well, I understand that, sir, but that's
I was
not...
just gonna try to help him out with that.
Okay, but we're at the point, it's Councilman Kelsey has the floor.
All right?
Just a few other things. Lately, what's happening is, I am the liaison to DPS, and a lot of times what's happening is our grass cutting vendor is not doing their job. And then the DPS gets a call from the parks or the band shell or from the junior rails to send somebody over here and cut the grass. We need to look at that. I mean, if we're going to do the job that we're paying somebody else to do, this is ridiculous. I mean, we're short of people at DPS. And again, I'm sorry to bring, but these are issues that we need to discuss going on in the city. And I'd like to simply say that we need to take a look at that. DPS is dragged out every time we turn around to take care of something else. And if we complain about the fact that they're not taking care of the residents, it's because we're taking care of the vendor. And I don't think that's appropriate. And that's my comment on that. The other thing is that the dumpsters at the junior rails, the residents are using that for a dumpster for themselves. If we want to keep doing that, I guess we don't put up those signs and we keep doing it. But that dumpster keeps getting full, and we keep sending the GFL down there because it's overflowing and laying on the side. And we all know how the rats are in the city, and we also know about the animals. So another issue we need to take a look at. The other issue is that the junior rails, I guess through the chair, is that our property, or do they lease that, or what are we responsible for as far as the DPS at the junior rails complex?
It's my understanding that the property is leased during, when Steve Brown was mayor, and I think I don't know specifically what our responsibilities are for the lease. But the lease is on file, and James, you can get a copy of that from the clerk and disseminate it.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And with that, I wish everybody has a nice holiday. Councilman Higgins, nice to see you back and see you back on Facebook. And I would say to everybody, be safe and have a nice holiday. Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. I apologize, Your Honor. My last item is we had an appointment for a commission member on the compensation committee, and I know I sent you an email probably back in August, and you said you were looking at it. Have we got any further on that, Your Honor?
No, sir. I've been out of town. I will schedule an appointment to see if that is going to be a viable candidate or not.
Okay, I'm just asking because we're waiting to look at the candidate once you put them forward to us to be evaluated and voted on. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, that is, it's a mayoral candidate. It doesn't require a vote of the council.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is a mayoral, I put the name forward.
Require the support of the council.
Yes, there we go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So we get moving on that. So, all right, then Councilwoman Dupre.
Oh, sorry, I'm out of sorts, the order was changed, okay.
I apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
I messed up. I am so sorry.
That's okay. So one thing I was going to ask is for a specific contact for JFO, which we were given earlier by the mayor. I just wanted to reiterate that. Ashley in city management will be taking calls for GFO issues, extension 1231. To update on the marijuana dispensaries, from an earlier question, there's 2 of them. They have passed their site plan reviews. We're currently waiting for their putting in permits and getting inspections and getting the things done that they're supposed to get done. So they're not being held up by the city or by any means. And we're working with them, and there was one particular gentleman that said he had hoped to open by the end of October. So that's good news. And I know a lot of people were without power, and I was for a time. But I did want to throw out there thank yous for DTE workers, because they don't have an easy job. So I would just like to make that little thank you, and I am sorry for those who still do not have electricity. It's difficult in this day and age, and I am sorry. That's it for me tonight. Everybody have a good holiday, and God bless.
Thank you, ma'am, and I do apologize. I set out the list over here, and I go for it, and I just got you out of order, so I'm a little bit embarrassed about that, so I apologize. Mentioning DTE, I know that a lot of the businesses in the north end now are with power. The traffic light at Southfield and Fort Park is operating again, so hopefully that one section, which was our main core of being shut down, would be able to take care of business there. I mean, should be back to power. We had 2020 was not only the COVID year, but is also our year for the census. The numbers are coming back with that, and preliminary. What I found out is that Lincoln Park established growth for the first time in a long time with this. And not only that, but significant to the point of 5%. So the demographics of how that all came into play will be filtering down, but the 5% growth, which I think leads the area around in here, is very significant, and it's a positive sign for the city coming back out of receivership and then moving forward. Lastly, we had the decision to close Lincoln Park Days, and this would be the second year without that. It's a very, very difficult decision with that, because it is cost for the preparation and things that have been going on for it, all the hours that have been set, the down payments, the requirements, everything that's been set in order to go ahead and do this, because this is a year-round situation in reality. And then to have it come crashing down less than 2 weeks before the event was going to do is heartbreaking. But in the end, it is I think it's the smart thing to do. It's the right thing to do. That sometimes we have to be grown up about it and do what's right, as opposed to what is convenient. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.